Radek, we're finishing up the 2013 Redbird Migration. It's been a tremendous show. There's some exciting things happening from the standpoint of those who are trying to create a new future for aviation. IMC Club seems to have a very interesting profile in regards to what you're trying to accomplish. Tell me how this came about.
IMC Club was started roughly about 3 years ago, and literally it grew from 4 pilots sitting in the restaurant talking about instrument flying. And we're 85 chapters now and 2,000 registered members. But overall, it came from my experience that I had after my first instrument flight the day after I got my instrument rating. And I went into very low instrument conditions. I had very well equipped airplane with VOR and ADF. I did NDB Alpha approach down to minimums because that was the only approach available at the airport. And I struggled a lot, and I felt like there was something that I should be able to do it. But then later on, I realized that it was simply pure luck that that flight ended up successfully.
What is the mission statement for IMC Clubs?
Our mission statement is to get pilots to focus on practical knowledge. I strongly believe that, textbook knowledge, of course, is necessary, but it's not so much about what we need to do, but how we need to do it. Once we get our license, we're instrument rated, we do have the textbook knowledge, but we have literally zero practical knowledge. I mean, of course, there are some lucky students that they were able to get enough actual conditions during their training, but statistically, over 70% of pilots don't use their instrument rating because they don't know what to do with this. Or they either force themselves to do it, just like myself, and they learn on their own. So we want every instrument pilot to be proficient, safer, and I believe we don't have to wait for government to give us regulations on that. We can self-regulate, and we should definitely do it that way.
Redbird Flight Simulations is dedicated to revolutionizing flight training by designing, manufacturing, and delivering affordable and innovative flight training technologies. Each Redbird device is designed to enhance the training experience for pilots of all levels, from student to ATP. Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
What's the process of getting something out of this from a standpoint of being a better instrument pilot in the long term?
In chapter environment, we discuss scenarios. But the key is that all the scenarios that we discuss, they are real, they come from our members. At some point in our flying experiences, something happens to us. We all like to discuss things, so we always get back and talk to somebody about it. But how about discussing this with 2,000 members of the IMC Club? That's what I always say. So people submit to us those scenarios. We put them in a short audio visual, and we discuss those. So basically, we don't give any answers. I don't believe in A, B, C, D. Life is a very big gray area. Real flight has nothing to do with A, B, C, D, and only D is the correct answer. There are a number of different answers that are correct. There are a number of different answers that are not correct, but it's more about exercising your brain on decision-making process. So now it's a brain teaser. Now everybody is sitting in a group, they put themselves in the situation, and I always say, don't think about this as, what did he do? What was weather? What are the approaches nearby? Because if we provide all that information, then we don't exercise our brains on how to do it. So we sit down and we say, okay, so what would we do if suddenly our airspeed indicator is showing 0? We're in a soup, where do we go? Okay, we know we're over this section of low-level chart, but then we bring our iPads and we try to figure out what are the airports nearby, what are the approaches, how do we feel about, how comfortable we feel about doing those approaches without airspeed indicator, and so on. And as I always point out, this discussion takes half an hour, 45 minutes, but when we're in the air, ATC comes in and they say, what are your intentions? And you have to say it right away. So that's why when we exercise the process on the ground, then we will be much better equipped in the air to do that.
Are there online or other utilities that support these goals?
We do have number of online benefits for our members. For example, probably the most important one is we call it SafeBook. People signing up for membership on the application, they're being asked if they want to serve as a safety pilot for somebody else, or if they have their own airplane and they would like to invite somebody else to fly with them. But we have resource library, we have knowledge-based 24/7 access to a flight instructor, and so on. And the list is actually very long, but I don't want to emphasize website because our primary objective is creation of those face-to-face communities and monthly meetings of chapters. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Everything else is just in addition to.
Rebuilding the sport aviation world one aviator at a time. That's A&N's new Aero Sports ebook series, your resource guide to the ultimate in aviation adventures. Aero Sport will feature the straight skinny on learning and enjoying 16 unique aviation sports, from ultralights and ballooning to aerobatics, gyroplanes and hang gliders to parachuting, home builds and general aviation to RC models. All this and more will be coming soon with the new updatable Aero Sport guide for your favorite electronic devices. Get your advance order in now at www.aero-sport.net.
Are you surprised at the progress you've made in such a short time?
I am. Yes and no, actually. I didn't really expect it this way. I was envisioning as a local club in Norwood with maybe 30, 40 people and maybe 2-3 chapters around Massachusetts. But the more I see it, I see the need and I see people actually starving for the grassroots movement in that aspect that is being created by them. Because the other difference, we don't package something and bring out to people. I believe people don't gather around product, they gather around an idea.
How has the industry responded to the IMC clubs?
Very positively, we have a lot of corporate supporters. The biggest one is Hartzell Propellers and Joe Brown. Also, we have a list of other industry supporters. So they do definitely see benefit of it. Everybody benefits from approach like this. When people start coming back to their airports, they will start flying. So if they have their own airplanes, they have to burn aviation fuel. If they don't, they have to rent it. A lot of aspects of what we do involves flight instructors. So they will have to pay their flight instructors. So flight instructors now have more business. This is pretty much a market that was never addressed. Those people, instrument-rated pilots, were always left alone.
Where can people get more information?
imcclubs.org. I am accessible. The telephone number published on the website actually goes directly to my cell phone. I try to answer every single inquiry by anybody, whether it is positive or negative. I mean, some people say, like I said before, I wish there was something there, but I always say, hey, let's make it happen. That is your organization.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you in the future as far as how the organization is progressing, what obstacles it may overcome, and more important, what successes it may have. I hope you'll keep us up to date.
I absolutely will.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.